getting witches because we're going reading. Hey everybody, my name is Sophie, the Bookish Floor. Welcome back to my channel. So this week what I'm doing is I'm gonna challenge myself and I'm gonna be listening or reading to all books about witches, wizards, magic, a little bit of spooky vibes, but mainly all about witches and different types of witches. So I have a couple of books picked already, and here are some of the books that I'm gonna go ahead and read. So what is a Halloween book and a witchy book challenge without hocus pocus? I got this book actually about 2 years ago and I haven't had a chance to read it, and honestly it's a bit of a chunker, and because this is a 1 week challenge and I don't have a lot of time to read it, I decided to just download the audiobook to go a bit faster and use it as a companion if you're like me, if you don't have a lot of spare time, if you are doing a lot of things, you have multiple side hustles, or maybe just like a main job that you're doing and you don't have a lot of spare time. Having an audiobook with you, accompanying either your physical book or just having the audiobook, either listening to it while you are in commute or while you're doing an additional task, or maybe some dishes or some chores, something like that. Multitasking, it's a great help, and that is mainly how I do my reading, because it's very difficult for me and my schedule and the things that I have to do in my daily life to just sit down and read a physical book. So yeah, this is the first one that I'm gonna be reading. This is a sequel to the Hocus Pocus movie. However, this is not the sequel movie that we saw last year on Disney Plus. This book came out before the movie, so this is kind of like an alternate universe sequel. So I am very interested in finally getting a chance to read this book. The other book that I'm gonna be reading that I actually already started is the Book of Forgotten Witches. That's actually a book that I was able to get via NetGalley. If you guys don't know NetGalley, NetGalley is a site where you can request books from different publishers. This could be ARCs or books that are already out. Sometimes you can get advanced reader copies. Sometimes, like I said, books are already out. But you can get, and you have to review them. That is the whole point. And I did get that book a couple of weeks ago and I hadn't had a chance to listen to it, and this is a great opportunity. It's kind of a weird one because it started with like a list of different types of stories, folklore, or names of different witches or folk tales from around the world. It tells you like a brief description, like Baba Yaga and where she's from and what is the story, and like a list of different types. And then it kind of goes into one story, and it told the story about a witch who these kids are trying to steal cheese from an old lady in a cheese shop. Turns out that she is a witch, and she turns those kids who steal her cheese into little mice. And then second chapter, same thing, is kind of going through a list of different types of witches, wizards, or Wiccans, or whatever they're called, again from all over the world. And then it's gonna go into another story. So it is a lot of fun. And then it also kind of is telling you about, oh, if you do this, if you do that, if witches like us do this and do that. So it's kind of interactive, and it is educational, but it's also like entertaining because it does end up telling you like a whole story, like a short story. So it is very interesting. I am liking it a lot. It is very long though, and it feels like a short book. So I don't know if the formula is the same, if it's gonna feel repetitive. So how I'm gonna feel about it, but for now I'm really liking it. And that's the Book of Forgotten Witches. And then the next book that I selected is this Hallow Vows. This isn't really witchy, but it gives me like witchy vibes, right? The story is about this girl whose sister is taken, and she has to kind of befriend one of the royals in order to try and get her sister back, but she also ends up having to befriend, I guess, like a thief or something like that, one of the dangerous people around. So yes, you can see she's probably gonna end up in like a triangle, probably like a love triangle, deceiving two people. Her main goal is to save her sister, but she's probably gonna end up in a bit of a mess. In again, not necessarily witchy vibes, but definitely fame, magical, mystical things going on. So this is another book that I decided to read this week. Okay, and the next book that I pick is You Can Spell Treason Without T. And this book is about two women who are in a relationship and all they really want is to have a little bookshop, a tea shop, just kind of have a cozy little life, kind of like Legends and Latte, things like that. But turns out that one of them is one of the most powerful mage, and the queen really wants kind of to have control over the kingdom and kind of control over everyone, including them. And when they finally escape the kingdom and decide to kind of settle down into a quiet life, the queen decides to throw a tantrum and all things implode. So they have to kind of figure out what they're gonna do and how to keep their cozy life. So that sounds super interesting and I've heard really good things about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that one this week. And the last book that I'm gonna try to read this week is Small Town Big Magic. So Emerson is the owner of a bookshop in a small town. Kind of perfect, ideally small town life. Everything is chill until one day a monster, a creature who has no way of being explained appears, and all of a sudden she is able to kill this creature with what she can only describe as magic. When all of that happens, she realizes that her memories have kind of been messed with, and that when a year prior she took a test to see if she had magical powers and she didn't pass, all her memories were wiped away. So she thinks that she's just this regular person who's running a bookshop. Turns out there's more to her than meets the eye, even to her own self. So now she has to discover who she really is and is there anything after her. So that sounds super fun, super cozy vibes with a little bit of an adventure and kind of discovering who you really are. So that sounds like a lot of fun. So yeah, those are the books that I'm gonna try and read this week. Like I said, I have already started with the Book of Forgotten Witches, and I'm gonna be updating you throughout the week to see how I do. So let me know if you have read any of these books as we go along throughout the video, and let me know in the comments what you think. Keep on watching to see what I think about those books.
They stigmatized those who were once revered as seers, healers, and guardians. In the darkest of times, witch hunters roamed the land to turn villagers against one of their own. The judges often resisted the trumped-up charges, and innocent women were set free. But the witch hunts still claimed tens of thousands of victims in Europe alone. A major part was played by one of the most dangerous books ever written, the unabashedly misogynistic Malleus Maleficarum, or Hammer of Witches. Let us remember those who survived the false accusations, and those who were sent to the gallows or burned at the stake, so their names outlive those of their accusers. It is important to know them, because anyone could find themselves in such a situation, even you, and I'm talking from experience.
Good morning, everyone. Super quick update while I wait for my water to warm up so I can make my coffee. So I was listening to The Forgotten Witches yesterday. I'm about an hour away from finishing the book. It's about an 8-9 hour audiobook, so it's pretty long. So I wanted to finish yesterday, but I couldn't. So I'm a little behind on this challenge because I only have about 3 days to finish the rest of the books. It took me longer for this one because I've been a little bit busy. But yeah, hopefully while I'm making my coffee and doing my morning updates and things like that, admin work, I can go ahead and finish it. And then I can start a new book, but I wanted to give you an update on how it's going. I'm really liking it. It's a bit of a different book. It starts, it's written in first person. don't mind my dog. She's like chomping away at her food, and I can hear like that cracking of her chewing her food. So, anyways, it's written in first person, and she's like talking like directly to the audience, and she's discussing like we can do this and we can do that as witches. So I think that's kind of fun, is like having a direct conversation with the audience. And then she goes into naming different witches from around the world, or different yeah, like stories and legends and myths, and all around different types of witches, and how they came about, how the stories came about, what they are accused of, what their the outcome was. And then it goes into a full story, whether it's like a fairy tale or a legend or something like that. So sometimes it's like very short, like this witch from this area of the world, this was her name, she was accused of this is the story, or the written proof, because sometimes there's like documentation, right? Or this is the legend from this tribe, and then that's it. And then it goes into a different full short story or legend or myth. So yeah, it's like 3 different parts: the parts where she's talking to the audience, like the list of different witches, and then that short story. So I'm really liking it. Definitely, again, kind of like witches, what was it called? I think witches, women warriors, mythology of fiercest females. I think that was the book that I read in March. It's very similar. So if you are a storyteller and you're looking to do research on different witches, I think this is a great work to start with. So yeah, that is Forgotten Witches. So hopefully I can finish that one today and start with a new one. So next time I see you, I will be updating you on the next read that I'm gonna be doing. Good morning, everyone. So it's already Friday, so I'm scrambling to see if I can finish at least one more book by today. I was hoping to read all the books by today and have the vlog updated or uploaded by today, but I don't think that's gonna happen. It's probably gonna be uploaded within the next couple of days, because I actually took longer with the first book, which was The Forgotten Witches. I already talked about it before. I don't think I told you what I ended up giving it. I think I ended up giving it 3 or 4 stars. I'm still not sure. I probably it's more like a 3.5, because like I said, I thought it was very very interesting the way it was kind of divided. However, it did feel really long. I felt like it was very long. It could have been like 2 volumes, 2 different ones, maybe divided by region, I don't know, but I felt like it was very long. So for research purposes, I think it's a great book to have. Or if I don't think it's one of those books that and I don't think it's meant to be listened to or read the way that I did it, which is in one like sitting. In my case, it was like throughout 3 days, which was the problem. I was trying to do it in one day, and it ended up being 3 days because it was the same formula over and over, and it felt really repetitive. So I had to kind of pause it, and yeah, so I think it's great for research, great if you're reading a couple of stories here and there, to have it and bring it out during spooky season. I think it's very good. So it's gonna be like a 3.54 for me. And then the next one that I read was You Can Spell Treason Without T. And yeah, and that was also this is a fantasy. This is about a kind of like a warrior. It's not called a warrior, but I'm like spacing on the name. For a queen, and her whole life has been devoted to service to the queen. And there is this mage who shows up, and they kind of form a relationship, and they decide that they're gonna quit the kingdom and just go and live happily. They go into a little town, open up a bookshop and a tea shop, and it's kind of like Legends and Lattes. Um, and they're madly in love in their own bookshop, and then obviously they're being hunted down because this warrior or this knight for the queen, she has devoted her life to the queen, so she shouldn't neglect her duties, obviously. And then the mage is obviously um, one of the enemies of the queen, so again it's like treason for the kingdom, so they're being hunted down, and obviously the people in the town and the people who are their friends are in danger also. So it's very cozy fantasy, but you do always have this looming danger in it. It is book one, so it is gonna be a series. um and I did like it. I liked it a lot at the beginning, and I liked it a lot at the end. Again, I feel like because it is cozy, a lot of the stuff from the middle, that is the cozy part, that it's really uh nice and warm and fun and all that, still dragged down a little bit too much. It could have been a shorter book. There's a lot of stuff there that could have been cut and the story would have been the same. I feel like a lot of the times, I don't know why these cozy fantasies, or in general these books, fantasy, they tend to be really long. And I know, for example, something like Lord of the Rings, which is incredibly long, in 3 volumes, obviously, but they're on a journey. They're going to different places. So you get why it's long, because they're going to different places, they're going through different things. When you're setting up the story to be in one particular place and nothing changes, and the circumstances or the things that the obstacles that you present in the story are is still contained within the same space, and the circumstances can only be so different, they don't change much. It tends to be repetitive, and it tends to be monotonous, and it tends to be a little boring. So if you're not gonna take the characters out of that space, then your book has to be shorter. It can be this long, and you can not be presenting the same things over and over, or the same problems just dressed up a little bit differently. So it is, I think people should make either shorter books or pick a different settings, make their adventures longer, because yeah, making them really long in that same setting is very boring, honestly. So yeah, I think that ending really saved it for me. I was kind of, again, it dragged a lot, so I ended up spending 4 days on those 2 books, when I really wanted to read one book per day. Yesterday I started Small Town Big Magic, and I wasn't able to read a lot of it yesterday, but I really engaged in it. It's about a girl who lives in a small town. There seem to be like some sort of magic there, but when she has like these trials for her to see if she has magic, she didn't pass, so her memories were taken away. So right now she just she owns a bookshop again, and she's just trying to live her life, kind of dealing with the mayor, who's full of privilege, and she's just trying to make a better community and better herself, and have fun in her bookshop and all that. And it seems like magical things might start to happen. So I'm right there at the beginning. I'm gonna do some work right now on my computer, and I'm gonna be listening to that book, and I'm gonna give you an update. And I don't think I told you what I gave. You can spell treason without T. I think I gave it 4 stars because again, the ending really made it for me. There is an epilogue. There is really more like a prologue than an epilogue, and even that felt long. Like they stretched it out so much. So I think that it does need a little bit of editing there. But I did enjoy it. I do like the coziness of it. Again, might be a 3.5 for me. When I read it on Goodreads, it doesn't allow me to give like half points, so it's probably more like a 3.5, but I round it up to a 4. If you like cozy fantasies and you want to look something for similar to Legends and Lattes, that might be like an option for you. Just beware that it's gonna be long on some parts. So yeah, I'm gonna listen to Small Town Big Magic, and then I'll catch up with you when I have an update.
The time and the price of appearance. But it's really changes in the future. He's like them all because he keeps me safe. Maybe you should admit it. But I know you can tell me about which side, but that to me doesn't. I have lost words. Nothing seems to be obvious for us. Dig me, kiss me, it all seems childish. Maybe we're just children right now. But the feelings are not childish. I'm disappointed. He has made some feet and spent tonight. There are some change messages. His explanation. I understand the point of view, so he gave me a She said, it's hard with you. All the friends and nothing. And that tried to question. Here's the classic. Don't you agree? The main one, I think, all the friends
Okay, so I finally finished Small Town Big Magic, and my god, this has been the longest video. Today's actually Tuesday, so that means that I've been working on this video for about 8 days straight. And this is why I don't do vlogs, because the way that my life works is I can only film like for a little bit each day, and this extends like forever, and this week was insane also. So I was not able. Usually, I also listen to books quite faster if I'm doing like a challenge. I remember a couple of weeks ago I did a challenge and I was able to listen to like 4 books in like 5 days. And this one, it was 4 books, and it took me about 8 days. So yeah, it was insane. But I do have good news. I really like Small Town Big Magic. Turns out this is a series, and there's a second book, and I'm probably gonna continue with the series. I really did like it. It was almost a 5-star. I ended up giving it 4 stars because at the end, the ending came so quick. I actually had to kind of go back and listen to it again, and even like doing that, I wasn't able to kind of figure exactly how it was concluded so fast. So I feel like the conclusion came way too fast for how long the book was. It didn't feel long, but when you compare it to the conclusion, it feels like the setup is so long and the conclusion is so fast. So that's the only reason why I'm giving it 4 stars instead of 5. I feel like it's a great cozy mystery. It does have a lot of tropes, friends to lovers, kind of found family, coming of age, a lot of stuff that it's really fun. Perfect for Halloween, so we still have a couple of days if you guys wanna look for something to read, or to read on a Halloween day or listen to on Halloween day. That would be a great pick. So I would suggest doing that. So yeah, that would be the last book. I still have Hocus Pocus that I'm definitely gonna listen to it because I spent one of my credits from Audible, and I had this book again like for 3 Halloween straight now that I wanted to read. Well, I think 2 that I wanted to read it. So definitely gonna start listening to it right now, but I'm not gonna try to make it into this vlog. So it's probably gonna end up being like an extra read. And if you follow me on my socials, I'm probably gonna put my review of that book there. So yeah, that concludes this vlog, all the books that I was able to read on this witchy challenge. Tell me if you are reading any witchy books, which ones they are. Let me know if you have read any of these books. What did you think about them? If you like them, if you didn't. Leave all of your thoughts and all of your recs right there on the comments. Remember to also like this video if you like following me around. I don't know that I'm gonna keep doing vlogs because it takes me forever to do them. So yeah, maybe faster challenges, I think I might just read them and then just upload a video with all the reviews of my challenge and not necessarily like following me around. It takes me forever to do that. I'm still not used to that. But anyways, you let me know if you like it. Also, if you like all my videos, make sure that you ring that bell and you subscribe so you can get notified every time I upload a video. I try to upload every Wednesdays in Spanish and every Fridays in English. Sometimes I don't make it, but I try to do that as much as possible. And make sure that you go to the description and follow me on my social so you guys can get updates of what I'm doing and the reviews of all the books that I am reading. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to keep reading and keep blooming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye! Bye.